In this video, I'm going to break down my honest advice for computer science majors. My name is Aman. I'm a former software engineer and current career coach. And in college, I studied computer science, did 5 software engineering internships, and started a full-time 6-figure software engineering job the day after I graduated college. And on this channel, I help you make it as a computer science student and land your dream job in tech. Now, my first honest piece of advice for computer science majors is, if the market isn't bad, you are. Almost every time I talk to a computer science student in 2024, I hear the same line. The market's bad. Oh, the market's bad. That's why I'm not getting any internship offers. The market's bad, Aman. The market's bad. If it was only 2021, things would be different. And sure, I've played on the same idea. I know that everybody thinks the market is bad. That's why I made this video called Software Engineering in 2021 versus 2024. But let me tell you something. In my experience, the majority of computer science students who don't have jobs, who think the market is bad, in fact, they don't have jobs not because the market is bad, it's because they're bad. And they use the market being bad as a cope to externalize responsibility and not take control of their own actions. Back in 2023, last year, the market was also bad based on everybody who was in the industry. Look at any old YouTube videos, any old Reddit posts, look at my old videos from 2022. The market has been quote unquote bad from 2022 to 2024, okay? Now in 2022, I did 2 software engineering internships at Shopify, and I actually received a full-time return offer to go back and work at Shopify. Yet 3 months later, Shopify ghosted me and rescinded my full-time offer in March of 2023. Now, March is notoriously late in the new grad application cycle. Most people get their jobs in the fall, and theoretically, it's a lot harder to find a job in the springtime because everybody starts in the summer after they graduate college. And in that moment, if I had believed that the market was bad, and if I had believed that it was near impossible to find a software engineering job in the spring, I would have acted accordingly. So I would not have done lead code. I would not have sent out tons and tons of applications. I wouldn't be asking for referrals because I believed that the market was bad and I couldn't find a job. Except I didn't. The day after my offer was rescinded, I immediately messaged 10, 20, 30 of my friends and said, hey, my offers are rescinded. Are any of your companies hiring? Does anybody have any ability to help me in this situation? And pretty soon, one of my friends, Adam, immediately got back to me and referred me to a company in his office. And within 3 or 4 weeks, I'd completed their interviews and I had the offer in my hand. The market was terrible. It was late in the application cycle. And yet I was still able to get a high-paying software engineering full-time job right out of college, right after my offer was rescinded. When you externalize control and repeat the statement to yourself and everybody else that the market's bad, all you do is make the market bad for you. I'll give you another example. I work directly with students and I help coach them into landing full-time jobs and internships in software engineering. Now, every single student who joins my program tells me, Aman, the market's bad. That's why I'm struggling to find an internship. Yet, as soon as we fix 5, 6, 7 of their obvious mistakes, as soon as they start grinding lead code, practicing for behavioral interviews, actually asking for referrals, as soon as they fix their LinkedIn and their resume, all of a sudden, 2 or 3 months later, they suddenly have an internship. So it wasn't that the market isn't bad, they just weren't doing the work. And often, they start doing the work purely because I tell them, look, man, you're going to be fine. You can actually get an internship. Now, you don't have to work with me, but all I'm telling you is to stop lying to yourself. Stop repeating the statement, the market is bad. An action step to do right now is never say the phrase, the market is bad, to anybody ever again, because it's not. You make the market bad by saying it's bad. The market isn't bad, it's just different. And different means you just have to work a lot harder now than you did in the past. People are simply getting hired every single day. I'm seeing it with my own eyes. So get up and do the work. Let me ask you, how many lead code problems have you solved? If I look at your account and see that it's under 100, I better not hear you ever say the market is bad because you have not put even a minimal amount of effort into getting hired. How many referrals have you gotten? How many times have you even asked for a referral? Most people, it's under 5 to 10, yet they act that they've tried so hard that nothing's working. Own your shit and actually take accountability for where you are in life. So what are a few things that you have to emphasize more and improve upon in today's market than the market of 3 years ago? Now, the reason we're having waves of computer science students feeling like the market is bad is because of simple supply and demand. So about 10 years ago, when The Social Network, the movie came out, maybe around 2013, computer science was starting to become the coolest thing anybody could do. It started in 2012 when nerdy programmers became cool through Jesse Eisenberg and Mark Zuckerberg. And then it slowly ramped up through 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 2020. And 2020 was the peak of it all, when everybody thought computer science is a major for me. Universities like the University of Wisconsin, my university, computer science was the most popular major at the school. So there was tons of supply of people who could code, software engineers, computer science students. Now, up through that time, the S&P was still going up. It was hitting sky highs. and interest rates are super low. So companies just had free money they can use to hire people and grow their business. So they were hiring at the same rate that these software engineers were appearing. But then all of a sudden, 2020, 2021, 2022 hit, interest rates went through the roof and companies cut back, stopped spending money, stopped hiring people. So it's a simple supply and demand. When we have tons and tons of computer science students and not enough jobs, we've created an environment where you have to work much harder to get hired than you did before. So what do you need to do to get hired in today's market? Now, my second piece of honest advice to computer science majors is to start before you're ready. I spend a lot of my free time talking to computer science students, and something I hear often when I ask them how many lead code problems they've done, they always tell me, oh, I've done a few, but I didn't think I was ready until recently, so I've just started. Or I'll ask them, okay, how many internship applications did you submit in the last 6 months? They'll look at me and say, Aman, I didn't think I was ready, so I only waited till 1 or 2 months ago to start applying. You are literally sabotaging your success with this logic. You must start before you're ready. Now, why do students delay in the job search? It's because there's also another lie going around that you need to wait till your sophomore or junior year of college to get an internship. Internships happen in your junior year, so therefore you enjoy college. You move back to your hometown during the summers, you work a cafe or a restaurant job, and then your junior year of college, you get an internship, and that's how you actually start to build experience. But the real killers out there, they realize that if they can get experience early, they just expedite and speed run their entire software engineering journey. In my case, in high school, I was doing unpaid software internships. I remember my sophomore year of high school, I worked at an IT company and did an unpaid internship where I was just like doing some basic JavaScript stuff and throwing away computers. Was the position bullshit? Kind of. Did it give me something to put on my resume? Absolutely. And then the summer before my senior year of high school, I did a computer science research job through the whole summer at the University of Iowa. Did I really produce that much important knowledge? Absolutely not. Did I have something to put on my resume? Absolutely yes. And that launched me into getting my very first software engineering internship after my freshman year of college, something that everybody says is impossible to do. And it was only because I started before I was ready. Now, was I qualified in any way, shape, or form for any of those roles I did before college? Definitely not. Yet I was still able to walk in there, get some knowledge, and more importantly, put something on my resume. So you need to lose the idea that you have to wait till the moment where you're ready. You have to wait till the moment where you're qualified to do something. Listen, you don't wait until you're qualified. You seize the chance to be qualified and make yourself qualified to do something. There are 3 things that every single person, I don't care if you're a high schooler, middle schooler, elementary school kid, if you have the idea of getting a coding job and making it in tech, these are 3 things you should be doing or starting right now after this video. Number 1, studying lead code. Go to leetcode.com. If you don't already have an account, create an account right now. And as an action step, solve 2SUM. Just starting your lead code journey 3 or 4 years earlier makes a world difference that nobody talks about. Number 2, start building your network early. A network is something that takes months and months and months to build up, but once you have it, you can easily extract a referral like it's nothing. And the best action step to start networking is to create a LinkedIn profile, watch a video or 2 on how to actually optimize it, then send out connection requests to all your friends and family members on LinkedIn. One step further, set up informational interviews with everybody you know in your personal circle who works at a tech company, and just ask them for advice for how to make it in tech. You're strengthening those relationships, which can easily be tapped upon later on. Let me tell you, one of my first internships was at this company called John Deere, and the only reason I got the job was because one of my family friends was the vice president of IT at the company. I cold applied, was completely ghosted, but then we emailed Ganesh Uncle. Ganesh Uncle reached out to the HR person, and they immediately interviewed me the next day. You need to tap upon those opportunities and start building this network as soon as possible. And finally, the last thing you need to do is you need to get some kind of technical position in your resume as soon as possible. And for most people, this is going to be doing an unpaid internship somewhere. Another psyop that people tell you is, oh, like free work is bad. You're not being fairly paid. You must be paid for your internship. And there are people out there, I kid you not, who will go work at Walmart or Target over an unpaid software engineering internship. And not to support themselves, but because they think that they have to be paid for their work. So they'll go bag groceries instead of doing an unpaid research job or an IT job, not realizing that they're wasting their summer away, not building experience when they could be getting a leg up on the competition. So get an unpaid role as soon as possible. Just get something on your resume. Now, something that made a massive difference to my overall career success and my mindset was reading tons of books, specifically reading books on entrepreneurship. Now, one of my favorite books in entrepreneurship is called $1 Million Weekend by Noah Kagan, the surprisingly simple way to launch a 7-figure business in 48 hours. Now, this is the best book in 2024 for anyone who's interested in starting a business. Buy $1 Million Weekend and read it as soon as possible. It's written by the serial entrepreneur named Noah Kagan, who's worth about $30 to $40 million right now. And he was one of the first people at Facebook, Mint.com, and now he's the founder of AppSumo, the sponsor of today's video. Now, some of the important lessons from $1 Million Weekend are literally what I just described. You need to start before you're ready. And the same thing applies to starting a business. Listen, you're not going to have the skills nor the capability to start $1 million company. It doesn't matter. Can you earn your first dollar online? And then iterate and improve from there. Noah Kagan even has something called the $1 challenge, where you just call your friend and ask them, hey, would you mind giving me $1 to invest in my business? And just by doing that, you launch yourself into the world of entrepreneurship. Because an entrepreneur is someone who can ask someone else for money in exchange for a product or service. That is all an entrepreneur is. And the day you ask someone to pay for a product or service, that is the day you become an entrepreneur. Noah Kagan also emphasizes the importance of comfort challenges. He also recommends everyone does the coffee challenge. So the coffee challenge is where you go to a cafe and you ask for a 15% discount. And you give no reason why. You literally show up and say, hey, can I have a latte? Sure, it's going to be $5. You know what? Can I get a 15% discount? Now, the most common reaction from the barista is going to be like, why? And there are two options here. I usually recommend people come up with some kind of reason to justify them getting a 15% discount, because then you start to practice your sales skills, your persuasion skills. Now, you can buy $1 Million Weekend on Amazon for $18, or you could buy it on AppSumo for $7. Now, AppSumo is the best place to buy any kind of software or knowledge information when it comes to entrepreneurial activities, because all of the tools and apps in there are available for one fixed price for life, whereas competitors often charge you $15, $20, $30, $40 a month. Some of the software for businesses, and I pay for some of it, costs $200, $300, $400 a month. It's absolutely insane. And the benefit of AppSumo is that all of that is just a one-time payment. So you may pay more in month 1, but by months 2, 3, and 4, you're definitely made your money back. So if you're interested in getting $1 Million Weekend and also checking out some amazing software and tools that you can use to run your business, check out AppSumo and use the link in the description. Okay, my fourth piece of advice for computer science majors is that the people around you will define your success. You hear from everyone that you are the combination of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and that is 100% the case. But you probably don't know why this is the case. Well, there are 2 reasons. First of all, mimetic desire. When you're in a group of people and everybody wants the same thing, you start to also want that thing. Your brain tricks you into thinking that something is valuable if every other person in the group also thinks that thing is valuable. And the best example of this is, I have a friend, his name is Salar. He's going for quant internships maybe next summer. And him and his friends are known to repeat after themselves pretty often, quant, 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 quant. And I talked to one of his friends when they were not hanging out, and this guy told me that he wakes up every day thinking about how he needs to have a quant internship. There's just a level of brainwashing, of psyop that goes on when you're spending time with people who want something. You start to dream about that thing. You start to want that thing. Now, this can be good and bad. It can be bad if the majority of your friends get drunk every night and smoke weed all the time. Sure, maybe they're looking for the best strain of weed, so you start to also want that kind of weed. But if all of your friends are high-achieving people, they want the best companies at their resume, they want the highest-paying salary, you will be far more likely to actually achieve that goal. I see so many smart, intelligent people who are also hardworking, who because their bar is set low, they only just surpass that bar. Another good example of this is standardized testing. So back in high school, I took the ACT, which is on a scale of 1 to 36 or something like that. And my parents told me from day one, you need to get a 34 and up. From probably age 12 or 13, I knew to myself, I have to get 34. I have to get 34. I have to get 34. So I prepared. I studied like hell, and what do you know? I got a 34. Now, there are other people at my high school who the teachers told them that, you know what, a 30, a 29, that's a lot above average. That's good enough. And these people, they're as smart as me, they're as intelligent as me, but because they set their bar at 31 or 32, they only got a 31 or a 32. And now I'm not saying that a 31 or a 32 is bad. That's a great score on the ACT, and it's in like the 95th percentile or something like that. But my point of the matter is, they're not any less intelligent than me. But because their bar was set lower, because the expectation was lower, that's how high they perform. And you see this with entrepreneurs and people who make money too. People usually earn a little bit more than their parents and then they quit. So someone's parents work an odd job or drive taxis. Their kids are less likely to want to become millionaires because all they need to feel successful is just to have a stable career. Whereas me, both my parents are doctors. My dad's a cardiologist and my mom is a family practitioner. In my mind, I am anchored so unbelievably high in terms of money that I cannot just work a 9 to 5 to earn my money goals. It's just not going to work out. So all of that to say, you need to surround yourself with people who have goals that far surpass your own because you will be highly more motivated to achieve that. Let me tell you something. If all of your friends don't have internships and are broke, then you're probably going to think that having one internship and being a little bit ahead of being broke is an amazing feat. In that case, if you get one internship, even an unpaid internship, you feel like a complete god. Whereas let's say all of your friends are working at FANG companies like Google, Amazon, Facebook, Microsoft, and now you have a paid internship at AT&T. you're going to feel like shit, which is why you need to surround yourself with people who are high achievers so you feel bad about not being as good as them, because in the end, you will end up in a better spot. This is the main benefit of going to a top computer science school, because all of your friends are getting high-paying internships, so therefore you also have to get that too. Whereas if you go to a state school that's not really known for computer science, you're less likely to actually achieve that goal. Now, on that point, my next piece of honest advice for computer science students is whatever your bar is, it is not high enough. There's a phenomenon that goes on where people really struggle their freshman year of college. If they mess around for 4 years in high school, barely pay attention, barely submit homework, and do well if they're somewhat intelligent, but then college is a rude awakening. They strut into college expecting the standard to be similar to high school, but the standard is always going up, and therefore they have to pay catch up. And this is called standards ascension. Throughout your progression in life, when you move from high school to an entry-level job, to an entry-level job to a senior position, the standards just keep going up and up and up and up. And most people let the standards drag them along life. So they'll enroll in college, fail the first few semesters, and then have to act. But the secret here is to recognize that the standards are always going up, standards ascension, and just sprint ahead even when it seems unnecessary. So that you're not dragged by the standards, you set the standards. This could also be called anticipatory overworking. Now, sure, after a while of working at your entry-level job, even if it was a big shock after college, you probably acclimatize. You get used to that environment. Your standards do raise yet over time. So that when you look back to what circumstances you were in the past, that situation seems unbelievably easy because the standards are always lower compared to where you are now. Let me give you an example. Let's say you look at your life in middle school. Consider doing middle school homework. Back then, the homework was actually kind of tough. It wasn't the easiest thing in the world. But look at how easy it would be for you to do right now. Because the standards are unbelievably low because yours are just higher. And the secret, again, is to just push those standards up without the expectation of doing so. So what if you walked into college with the same level of focus, dedication, mindset that someone walking into their first job has? You would blow everyone else out of the park. While all these kids are skipping class and getting drunk at parties, you're grinding. On week 1, you show up to every class. You make relationships with all the professors. You start doing the homework that's not due for 3 or 4 weeks from now on day 1. And everybody points at you and says, man, why are you working so hard? Who cares? College is about having fun. You're doing things that no one else is doing, so you seem weird. You seem out of place. But give it to 3 or 4 weeks. Midterms are coming around. Everybody's falling behind. People aren't partying as much anymore because the standards are dragging them along. But you're doing just fine because you sprinted. You didn't let the standards drag you along. Look, man, I've made this mistake so many times. I'll walk into a software engineering internship with the standards of college and then be dragged along by my team because I just didn't come in with the proper mindset or level of work necessary. Let's say on day 1 of your internship, instead of messing around with the other interns at the ping pong table, you're instead doing coffee chats with every single software engineer, getting to know them, asking them for advice. Let's say instead of messing around on YouTube or Instagram, you're doing a code-based deep dive. You're understanding how these different parts and pieces of the puzzle connect together. This is how killers are made. Listen, prevention is better than the cure. It's better to not mess up than to mess up and have to catch up. So just stay ahead of the curve. Anytime you make any life change, whether it's going from middle school to high school to college to your first internship to your first job to the senior position, expect the standards to be continuously raised and just adapt beforehand. And trust me, you will thank me for doing this. Now, if you're struggling to find a software engineering internship or land a software engineering job, and you see this year as the year that you want to break into FANG, I actually run a school for computer science students called the Software Engineering Accelerator. If you want to work directly with me to land the internship of your dreams without spamming lead code, without building a pointless GitHub page, and without spending hours at career fairs, I'd love to hear from you. We actually guarantee internships, so every student who enters the program gets an internship guarantee. So check the link in the description and submit an application if you're interested in getting an internship that makes all your friends jealous. The final piece of advice I have for computer science students is to find tools that work for you and actually utilize them. So one of the greatest tools I've ever discovered is an app called Notion. I've talked about it many times on this channel, but it's by far the greatest note-taking app I've ever used. And Notion runs my life at the moment. Another app I really enjoy is Fantastical. It's my calendar app of choice. And that also runs my time in life as well. So when you find tools like this and you really adopt them and start to get used to them, they can really improve your productivity. Even 5-10% micro improvements make a big difference over time. Now, on that note, some of these tools that make a massive difference to your overall work can be found on AppSumo, the sponsor of today's video. So one app on there is called TidyCal, and this basically lets you send booking links to anybody in your network. So let's say you want to schedule a coffee chat with another software engineer. Instead of having to do this weird back and forth where you're like, oh, I'm available on Monday. No, I'm available on Tuesday. How's a Wednesday evening? Wasting all that time going back and forth, you can send a single booking link, which will take them to a booking page where they can book a 30-minute coffee chat with you in pre-designated times. It's a massive time saver, and I recommend everybody use an app like that. Another app that's really great to use is called SendFox. It's a newsletter dedicated app. Something both Ali Abdal and I recommend people start if they want to do content creation is by starting a newsletter. And the reason you start a newsletter before starting an Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube is because it's a low lift. You're simply writing an article every week instead of posting content publicly. It's also a little bit more comfortable for people, even though I think you should just get started because you're not showing your face. And also, only your friends and family know about it. So that makes it more likely that people actually get started with it. And finally, once you build a newsletter audience, you actually own that audience. So no algorithm can take that away from you. SendFox is one of the best newsletter apps out there. It's AppSumo's dedicated newsletter app. So see the link in the description if you want to check out any of those tools on AppSumo. If you're interested in how you can land a software engineering internship in 2024, you can watch this video right here. People have told me in my program that video changed their life. So go ahead and watch it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.